Welcome to SteelBlue Roll Call, the show that takes you behind the scenes of one of the most innovative and dynamic companies in the door industry. In this episode, we're joined by Sydney Hogan, the Director of Transportation, and Sierra Smith, Scheduler Extraordinaire at SteelBlue. With over 16 years of procurement and warehouse leadership experience, Sydney is an expert in supply chain management, while Sierra is a wizard at managing complex logistics operations. Together, they'll share their insights on SteelBlue's unique approach to scheduling and transportation logistics, plus how technology is shaping the future of these critical functions. Sit back, relax, and get ready to learn from two of the best in the business. Welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Sydney, if you could tell us a little bit about your role as the Director of Transportation at SteelBlue, what that entails, and then maybe a little bit about how your career path led you to this seat as well.
Yes, so I coordinate and schedule all of our outbound shipments. I work closely with our project managers, our sales group, as well as our customers to schedule the outbound trucks to deliver to the sites for their material. I oversee the loaders as well. So basically, I do a lot of communicating, I'll say, with customers, sales, project managers, and the loaders to make sure that we are loading the material on time, that it's accurate, in good quality, and that it makes it to the job sites in a timely manner.
I see. And then I guess also for just your career, you've had a great career, 16 years. Directors high up in the leadership roles. And so how did you progress yourself into that role?
So I have been in shipping, transportation, logistics for a while. I started out as a ship clerk, dealing with basically like the trucks that would come to the yard to either get unloaded or loaded. And this was at a previous job. I stayed with that career path with all things shipping and basically advanced, moved up the chain. So it comes second nature to me just because I've been in this industry in this field with logistics for so long. So just advancement, growing, and moving up the ladder.
Awesome. Pivoting over to Sierra, can you tell us a little bit about your life as a scheduler at SteelBlue? What your typical day looks like, and also your career path? How did you get started in this field?
I was joking with Sydney earlier and I was like, okay, what does my day look like? So first thing in the morning, we get one of these and it usually lasts me all day, but it's 4 shots of espresso. So it's like a little bit divvied out all day, right? But I feel like I really need it because it's just go from start to finish. So I've worked in manufacturing about 10 years, scheduled since 2018 at a different facility, worked here since July. That's whenever they posted the scheduling position, and that's whenever I applied and then got the job, and I've loved it ever since. It's just busy from the time I walk in the door till the time I leave, but it's not busy work busy. It's like problem solving and solving little puzzles all day and trying to make sure that everything lines up so that Sydney can ship it out the door all together and on time. So we really do work together a lot during the day and during the week. So we start with answering emails. I call supply chain and project managers 50 times a day, and I'm sure they're tired of listening to me. So they'll probably be watching this and be like, yep, I'll probably get another phone call from her as soon as the video's over. And then me and Sydney usually talk on the phone like 5-6 times a day because I'm like, hey, I just want to make sure this is going on this truck, not this truck. And she'll call me and make sure that we've got everything lined out so that the customer can get everything they need in the time that they need it.
Great. Back over to Sydney. So what is the significance of the role of transportation in the roll-up door industry? And what are some of the biggest challenges that you currently face in your role?
So we don't have our own fleet of truck drivers and we don't own our own trucks. So everything we do, we broker out. One of the biggest challenges is basically not having our hand solely in that cookie jar. I have to rely on a broker to cover the loads for us. So sometimes that can be really challenging when you're going through third party. And then just the communication, if there's delays, stuff happens every day that we can't control out on the road, whether it's a truck driver breaks down or we were delivering to Idaho just last week and there was like whiteout, a snowstorm that delayed the truck from getting there when we expected it to get. So there's a lot of different variables that you have to consider out on the road, stuff that these drivers are running into. So that can be really challenging.
Something that came up when we were talking to Bray was about how really there's not even as many drivers as there once was. And you both have been in the industry for a while. So I'm curious of over both of your experiences, how have things changed over the past decade or so? And how has it affected your role as well?
So there is a truck driver shortage. 10 years ago, you could find a driver basically at the drop of a dime, get a load covered same day. And that has changed tremendously, especially since COVID, that you really have to give notice, like advance notice to get trucks covered in a timely manner, and then just finding someone to actually haul the load. So sometimes the broker will go more than 24 hours and then get back to me and say, hey, we're having a hard time finding a trucking company that's willing to haul this load. And that's due to the truck driver shortage. I know the industry of truck drivers, they are actively seeking people that want to be truck drivers. I see it all the time when I get on LinkedIn from some of the trucking companies that I follow and everything. So that shortage has greatly impacted the industry.
Yeah, I can imagine. And what about for yourself, Sierra?
So actually started in manufacturing, like assembling stuff on the floor, but just seeing kind of the technology we dealt with. I know that we might hit a little bit on technology, but now we have a perfect example of technology right here. So we're communicating, we're seeing each other. We are having a full-blown conversation with 4 people, and none of us are in the same room. And especially since COVID, that is amazing, because at my previous job, I was a scheduler. I was a department scheduler, but the management or corporate people, I could never match a face with the name. But now I talk to everyone in our whole company. I can just pick them up and talk to them and see their face and see their expression and see how they're reacting to what I'm saying, which is very big for me. You can ask boss or old bosses, like, I wasn't picking up the phone. I was walking myself up to your office to tell you the news because I wanted to see your expression whenever I said it. And I want to know how it's going to impact us as a team. Technology definitely has advanced us. And then for us being such a small company, we can utilize this technology to make sure that everyone's getting the same information, but also to work a little bit faster. So we have people doing multiple jobs instead of just scheduling. My department kind of schedules, we do inventory, we help Sydney. The inventory people also help make sure that pictures are taken of our loads and that everything gets on the load. So we are really all working together all the time. And I think that's a big change right now whenever you have a lot of people who are doing like the same little job all day, which also gets boring, which is why this is fun. You get to work together because of not only technology, but also because we're like a smaller company.
Very true. I guess we touched on it a little bit, but I still want to maybe pry about this a little more, which is talking more about SteelBlue's approach to scheduling and transportation logistics, and how are we really ensuring that things get there in a timely and cost-effective manner for the customers? And does SteelBlue have a unique approach in the industry compared to others?
So from the scheduling side, I talked with a couple of people this morning about it, because while I did do some scheduling on a very small level for another door company, it was more like scheduling for that machine or for that department, not scheduling for the entire plant or company's worth of doors anyways. So we are small people and area wise, but somehow that pulls us closer. And I did just touch on it a little bit, but we can pick up the phone and call our CEO. And I typically don't, but like I can pick up the phone and call Ashley. I can pick up the phone and call Sydney, whether she's here or not. She always answers the phone. I can call my boss. I can call people on second shift. If there's like questions, they call us as well. So we communicate really well. And that also leads to making sure we have quick turnaround for our customers, and also that they get what they want in a timely manner. So we want to make sure that they are getting what they're asking for, not just, oh, here's part of your order or whatever. We want to make sure that they're getting what they need in a certain order because of the way that hallways have to be put up. We're also able to deliver messages to the production floor very quickly. So I can be on the phone with the project manager and then 5 minutes later be talking to our CTL operator. So he cuts the metal to length. I can go out there and tell him, hey, we have a change. Let's change gears. And our guys are great. Like, they're immediately going to do it. No, I would say no questions asked. They do have to ask questions to get the job done right and make sure they're cutting the right lengths, but they don't mind. It's not a hassle. It's not like ruining their day. It's just, our team is so great. They just do what you ask them, and then they know that we're going to do good to them in return.
Yeah, I really like that point that you brought up as well about upper management being available basically at all times. In my own past experience, I've dealt with that as well, where even in smaller companies where upper management just sees themselves as this like separate exclusive club, and they don't want to talk to folks. And I think SteelBlue's done a great job of establishing that culture.
Sydney can speak to that a little more too. I'm pretty sure that we had like all the chiefs rolling doors before I ever even started here.
Yeah. So I started, it's coming up on a year. Next month, it will be a year. I started March of last year. And
Congrats.
yeah, so I started when there wasn't even machinery in the building. And I really watched it grow from the ground up. And early on, when we were first rolling our doors, our first set of doors, we had our CEO, our CFO, our COO all here helping us. And I think any other company I'd ever worked for in the past, you wouldn't see that, but everyone wanted to make sure that we succeeded. So everybody helped. Everybody had a helping hand in all aspects of whatever we needed to get done. We just all pitched in and did. I myself rolled doors with our COO. Yeah, it was really interesting to see in the very beginning and just how much that we've grown in the past year. Not even a year yet. We're 11 months. To touch on what Sierra said, though, so I think one thing, obviously, that makes us unique is the open line of communication and then organization. So those two things, I think, have been key for us. And we're all the time, basically, like she said, checking on one another. Hey, did you see this? This got added. So communication and organization have been really key for us to get to where we are in less than a year.
You're talking about growth. I think the first or second week I started, we got a pizza party because they rolled 60 doors in one day. And now our goal is 150 doors a day. And our top day so far has been 183, I believe. We were trying to hit 200 today. I don't know if it's going to happen. We're going to see, but like it's getting there. That's going to be the new normal for us. And it's really exciting to see.
That is incredible. It must be so fun to be a part of a group that is growing almost exponentially since you've been working there. To be like,
yeah, we have a line graph and I'm like, look at the trend. It's going up. It's going up.
Oh man, that's better than the stock market these days. I'll tell you that.
Very true.
When you think of, or when people like me think of streamlining operations, we really think about people like you both that are behind the scenes making stuff happen. And I'm curious of how much of your roles are actually streamlined versus having to put out little fires all the time to make sure that people like me seem that it's streamlined, you know?
All day long, every day, all day long.
Yeah.
I think, as she was saying, like the people on the floor, they do different jobs. We do that as well. So we wear many hats other than what our roles are, just to basically help out and make sure that everything is done and accounted for. So if we have to put on a different job hat, I think we're all willing to do that and just pitch in wherever it's needed. That was very unique. This is the first time I ever worked for a startup company. So everything was, my previous employment, everything was already streamlined. There was already structure. Roles were lined out. Whereas we're basically from the beginning, like we've had to create, what does this look like? What structure do we need to have in place? Working that every day and lining that stuff out. It's always changing, but the willingness I think that everybody has to just do whatever needs to be done, whether you're working, doing inventory, or you're helping shipping or whatever. We all do that as well, Sierra and myself.
I think streamlining might mean different things to different people, like what you're saying. But I think the biggest part is that our customer and our guys on the floor don't have to see as much of those little fires as we do. And the guys on the floor, they do see some of it. They actually help, at least me, out a lot. I was just talking to one of our operators this morning. I'm like, you always keep me in line, James. And he's like, it's a hard job. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I can't imagine what you got to deal with. But no, we make sure that we don't make sure, our guys make sure that they know our products. If we tell them we need to make product A, they know everything that goes into making that product. So if they see something that looks wrong or different on their order, they always ask. And that is amazing, because they could just send it out the door and ship it to the customer wrong. And that's not what we're looking for. We want the customer to get what they want. We want the customer to know that they're going to get a quality product. And at the end of the day, if the customer sees us as having streamlined organization, it's because of our people. It's because of the work that we all put in to make sure that they're getting this end product that's packaged and pretty and it just looks great. And they don't see all the hard work that's put behind it, but that's the point. We want them to see this great product and see our company as a great company.
And I think that's exactly what's happening.
I hope so.
So I was hoping if maybe each of you could share a success story about how SteelBlue's transportation network has positively impacted your customers. I'm sure it happens all the time where you have to make some pivots and maybe ends up being super stressful for you, but ends up being very successful for the customers.
I'll let you go first, Sierra.
On the transportation end of it, I don't see it as much as Sydney, but like I have an example. Even today, we get a text message from a sales guy and it's like, hey, we need this overnighted. And it's like, okay, let's just hop right on that. Luckily, this one was a really easy fix, a really easy order to send out. But it is stuff like that. We're just like, we got our phones, we've got our communication, we run upstairs, pack the box, bring it to Sydney, and Sydney's going to probably personally drop it off at the UPS store and make sure it gets to the customer.
I live right beside the UPS store though, so it's close.
Perfect.
So it's stuff like that. We just make sure it gets done. But we've had obviously other challenges. Sydney would probably see the bigger transportation challenges. So I'm gonna hand it back to Sydney Hogan.
Oh, thanks. No, I don't have a story in particular. I was just gonna say, and it was along those lines of just being flexible when we can be with our customers. So I don't have a specific story, but if there's something that we know we need to take care of and we need to get it out immediately, if we have to drop everything that we're doing, and we had one of those today, like she was talking about, there was a customer, there was an issue with a latch in the field. They needed a sample latch, like ASAP. So we got it boxed up for them, and we're sending it overnight to see if that latch is going to work for them. So just being flexible is what I would say. And then our open line of communication seems to help with taking care of issues that arise. I don't have specific examples, but every day there could potentially be an issue, like I said earlier, with it, whether it's weather related or trucks breaking down and stuff like that. So just ensuring that we have that communication with those customers when those issues happen, and then keeping them up to date on, okay, the truck that broke down, there's a mechanic that's made it to where he's located and he's getting the issue fixed, and hopefully we'll have him back on the road in an hour or so, and your delivery might be delayed 2 hours. Just that line of communication, because those things do happen from time to time. I would say just communication and then being flexible. Go ahead,
I thought of one with transportation, maybe. I think this was last week or this week. You also hit on like keeping the costs down for the customers and obviously for us as well. Like we don't just want to spend extra money when we don't have to. So we had a replacement order to go to Washington State. And we were like, oh my gosh, that's a long drive just to replace this small part that we're replacing. And then our team came together and was like, hey, aren't we shipping some other doors to Washington State? Let's get it on the truck. And then Sydney calls up the broker and they get it all figured out, get everything on the same truck. And then both customers are happy. We're not spending extra thousands of dollars for a truck to go to Washington State just for this smaller part. And then it got there a lot faster than we thought it would as well. So it was a win-win for everybody. And it was all because we talked about it and the team was like, hey, why don't we try this option?
For people to be successful in a role that each of you have, you probably have to be a decent communicator. Can imagine if you're not a good communicator, this job falls apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All left and
Yeah.
right.
So we each week, so Sierra has a production meeting at the end of the week, and then I have a shipping meeting at the beginning of the week. So we're always on Teams calls. And
then we have another meeting in the middle of the week.
Yep. We do lots of meetings and we do them all on Teams so that the people that don't work in this plant, they can join as well. That way it's transparent across the board.
Just from the communication aspect, we also have daily meetings with, it sounds like we're just in meetings all day, but we have a daily meeting with the production floor. So the area leads on the floor, and we give them any new information that we've had from the day before. They give us their information, like where they're at on a certain job. And then we are able to update the rest of the team with the information from the floor. We can put it in our spreadsheets. We can call and talk to others about it. And then our guys, while me and Sydney both have the option to go run out onto the floor and give them information right now if we needed to, we also tried to limit that running around into, can we save this information for this meeting? And then we just make sure that everybody gets the same information at the same time. And then, like she said, once we talk to the floor, we have our meetings with like project managers and the sales team and supply chain and everybody else too. I mean, it really is about communication and teamwork.
It's a complex operation. So I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, where we were talking about the role of technology and particularly how it impacts each of your roles. And so I'm curious of how we could touch on it again about how technology is impacting your roles, but also what I'm curious of is the future. So how could technology really make your jobs easier? How can it make your lives easier? Stuff like AI is coming out all the time, these new applications. And do you see that maybe there's a future where your life is typing into some virtual assistant AI thing of schedule me this or whatnot? Or I'm just curious if that's not even like the reality.
What we're most excited for is our brand new ERP system that's coming down the road that our technology department is working on. We are all super excited about that. It's going to take all of the information that we keep up with and put it in one place. We will all be able to get some real-time reporting on everything that's going on. And right now we have to kind of rely on paperwork and word of mouth and our open communication through phone calls. And hopefully in a month or so, a couple months, I'm not sure, all that information will be like at your fingertips, literally just logging into the computer, and our CEO can see what was ran on our flat sheet line. Not that he necessarily would, but he could. And the only the only worry I have with that is that we would decrease our personal communication. And that's what we all love about this company. So I'm hoping that we can still continue to have that kind of family atmosphere where we're not afraid to just call whoever whenever we need to. But technology is it's already saved our butts a few times. It just makes everything faster. And when we go from making 60 doors a day to 150 doors a day, you don't realize how much faster you need all that information until you're doing it. And then you're like, I need to know how much coil that we have right now. We have to get more team members to get that information for us. Whereas before it was like me or Sydney would literally have to go out onto the floor and count things ourselves to report back to whomever. Now we've set in place processes that would say every day or every week you need to count this, type it into our spreadsheet for everyone to see, and then we continue to communicate that even further up to project managers and supply chain to make sure that they can get the information as fast as I have the information. That was like a lot.
It really showcases the need for technology stacks to grow as the business is scaling itself.
Yeah.
So otherwise stuff starts to fall apart at the seams.
Yeah, we just carry glue in our back pockets all day and just glue everything back together.
Just in case.
Yeah.
So what about for yourself, Sydney?
We are looking at some stuff, but I'm really not at liberty to say at this time. But it would make, we'll just say, and it's not set in stone, we're just looking into it, but some real-time options for customers to have visibility to their orders from start to finish. So I'll just leave it at that.
Well, we look forward to whenever that becomes a possibility.
So cryptic. Yeah.
So let's get into maybe a couple of fun questions. So I think this one would be fun for each of you to answer. So if you could switch roles with anyone at SteelBlue for a day, who would it be? And why would you do it?
I would say like something really humbling to bring me back to my days starting on the floor would be switching roles completely with someone on the floor, someone who's on the front line, producing the doors, rolling the doors. I haven't actually rolled a door. Sydney has, so she knows like the physical aspect of it. I think that would be really humbling, and it would help me understand how I could better my communication to the floor, because no matter how much you think you're giving to someone, you might not understand what they need unless you're in their shoes. Now, don't tell my boss that, because he will have me rolling doors tomorrow. So let's just keep it under wraps a little bit.
We'll try.
But I would be excited to speak to customers more. Our project managers speak to customers a little bit more. Sydney speaks to customers some. Being on the sales or project management side could be really cool to understand like who our customers are, how they work, like what their personalities are like, and the traveling aspect would be pretty cool too. I'm just saying, Las Vegas, Ashley. But yeah, there's a bunch of different jobs that I would like to sneak peek in on for a day, but I really like my job right now. It's the best job I've had. Like it's fun, it's hard, it's just a great place to be.
So what you're saying is you want to be my assistant? Is that what you're saying?
No, we talked about George, right?
Let's see. What about you, Miss Sydney?
I think I would like the marketing direction. If I wasn't in logistics and transportation and all that stuff, that would be something that I think that I would like, especially trade shows and stuff though, mainly. That way you get to travel and meet customers out in a different kind of setting than what the setting I'm used to meeting them in. Usually when I talk to them, they just want to know when they're getting deliveries and when their truck's going to show up and stuff like that. But
you get the not so happy side.
Sometimes, yeah. Or happy when we are able to get stuff to them when they want it. But I think meeting them at like the forefront, like at trade shows and gaining business, learning like the market like that and everything would be cool.
So basically we're all just trying to go to Vegas, Ashley.
We're all signing up.
That's all we're trying to do.
There's one in New Orleans. I think, is it this week?
Oh.
Yeah, I'm trying to go there.
Okay.
So there it is. We're all switching roles with Ashley.
Yeah.
Let's see. Also, I guess back to the customer side. So what are some of the strangest requests you've gotten from a customer? And then also, how'd you handle it?
This is the hard one that I was like just talking to someone about, because, okay, so this one wasn't one I've experienced, but another.
Please answer for me if you know one.
He called it the Sydney door, remember?
Oh.
He said that they wanted a door where every panel was a different color. Like each panel was just a completely different color. I haven't seen that, but I'm guessing it was probably for display or something to show off, like showcase different colors. I think our stuff is so custom right now anyways. Like we've had doors ordered by the 1/2 inch width, which is really different for our industry. I think most doors come in standard sizes, and I might be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure they're pretty standard. But we go down right now, our doors go to the inch in width, which is pretty custom for our customers, and they can order exactly what they need. But we have seen it in half inches. I'm trying to think of strange requests. And nothing seems too strange as long as we can do it. Like, our guys, they like to see stuff like that. They want to see the new and the different and see if we can do it type thing.
I love that.
It's just really fun. Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes our production manager and plant manager can be fun. And we'll hop in together and see what this new thing looks like. And that's pretty cool to see. But I'm sure Sydney's probably got strange requests from transportation.
The only thing, and I wouldn't call it strange, I would just call it difficult, is maybe like where we're delivering to, as far as, oh, can you come down this gravel, dirt, back alley road with a semi type deal? And we try to make that work, but I don't know if necessarily that I would call that unique. It could be unique. It could get a little difficult, but we do try within reason to take care of our customers with what they request. So nothing crazy on the transportation side other than like where we're delivering to. Might get a little hairy sometimes. Especially if it's like a new construction area.
Coming here, like trucks coming here. But you could call our truck drivers customers as well because we are working with them. They get stuck a lot. We'll give them very precise instructions and they will go down the wrong street by accident. And it's like, how are we going to get this guy into our loading area?
Yeah. So nothing unique, but some stuff that is challenging as far as where we're delivering to or the location that we're in right now. It is a little bit difficult to find. The street that we're on is actually a private street, so it doesn't show up on GPS. So that can be a little challenging sometimes, giving directions to all these different people that are trying to come to our facility.
Just wrapping things up here, I'm curious of what advice would you give to someone or maybe a company, and they're looking to streamline their scheduling operations, increase efficiency, just have better output overall. I feel like you all are just an example of what to be in the industry. And so for those that are trying to be as great as y'all, what would you say?
I would say even with the addition of technology and the spread of information more quickly, still put yourself out there, still speak to your project managers, get to know the people on the floor. We've had so many new people in the past few weeks that I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to go talk to them because I know all of our people that have been here for months, but now obviously we need more people because we're building more doors every single day. Don't be afraid to get personal because these are the people you are working with every day. Make a point to go see them. Turn your camera on for phone calls every now and again, just so that you can see the people that work states away from you from their home and they can see you as well. Streamlining should never take the person out of it because the reason that we make what we make is for people. Like, yes, we're supplying businesses, but it's for people. It's for that customer. It supplies jobs for all of the people putting up our doors. And then at the end of the day, it's really for the people who are going to store their stuff behind this door that you made. You're going to walk down the street and say, I built that door and ran it off that machine and shipped it on that truck. And you're going to remember that because you did it and you did it with your team.
Awesome. And how about yourself, Sydney?
Yep.
You're gonna come work roll some doors with us, Jared.
I know, right? Fly me out there. Get boots on the ground.
Don't do it. We'll put you to work. I like what Sierra just said. Every morning when I come in, before I even come to my office, because I'm actually in a separate building than the main plant. I'm actually in a building across the street. There's only one other person over here with me. It's very quiet over here, but before I come over in my office every morning, I make my rounds on the floor and just walk through and speak to everybody. And if there's someone that's new that I don't know, I just introduce myself. The other thing that I would say is never stop learning. Don't think you always know everything in your industry or in your role. There is always area for improvement. And I'm always learning. Stuff changes, especially in the transportation and logistics, whether it's DOT regulations and policies, they're always changing. Connecting would be one. So I'm big on social media. So like LinkedIn, I am subscribed to. So I am subscribed to different trucking industries and stuff like that, DOT laws and all that. So just always reading, always learning, and just making sure that you're current with what's going on in your industry really seems to help. And connections, people that I've met from previous employment, if they work in the same industry that I'm in, they can really help you. So I still work with past people that I worked with previously, and they're always letting me know stuff that might be overlooked. So that really helps as well.
That's perfect. So connectivity, humbleness, learning, staying at the pulse of the industry, so many things. I just really want to thank you, Sierra and Sydney. Thank you for taking the time out. You're both so busy. Really appreciate your insights today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.